our batchmates who are here now. To the end of year exhibition by the batch of 2021 from the Masters of Architecture in National University of Singapore. So from wherever you are and whatever time zone you are in, thank you for taking the time to join us for the opening ceremony of our exhibition series. So our series is made up of an online event themed after intersections, which is held on the website nusmgradshow.com/2021. And it is accompanied by a series of online dialogues held every weekend over this month of June. We have invited both local and international guest speakers from a diversity of disciplines and topics of interest to share alongside our own master's student presenters. So we hope that you'll be able to join us for an engaging set of discussions. We'll also be presenting a curatorial tour video to delve into these thematic clusters at the end of this event, so do look forward to that. So let us now open with a speech from the Provost Chair, Professor of Architecture and Building, and our own Dean from School of Design and Environment, Dr. Lam Khee Po. Unfortunately, he is unable to join us in person today as he is abroad, but we are grateful that he has sent in a short speech to open the event. We'll now watch the video.
Hello. First of all, let me say that I sincerely regret I'm unable to participate in the virtual opening ceremony of the M.Arch Show 2021 in real time, as I'm currently on leave in the United States. Nonetheless, I wanted to extend my heartiest congratulations to the M.Arch class of 2021. Architecture is well known to be a demanding academic program, and to be able to successfully complete your study under very turbulent conditions created by the COVID-19 pandemic this past year deserves special commendation. Beyond coping with the curricular expectations, the circumstances require all of us to adapt to new modes of teaching and learning while doing our best to remain understanding, patient, and calm, and demonstrate a cooperative spirit as conditions continue to evolve. Such stress management and character training augurs well for your future career development. Believe me, you will need this for a successful career in the complex and somewhat fragmented building industry. Another silver lining to the whole pandemic episode is that it has caused the world to recognize the important role that design of the built environment play in mitigating current and indeed future pandemic episodes. All economic sectors have to address how to future-proof their supporting infrastructure, including various building types, against the next onslaught. Architects therefore have a serious challenge and at the same time, a great opportunity to contribute to that massive effort. And all of you will be a part of that effort moving forward. So let me conclude by wishing you all the best in your future endeavors, and please stay safe. Thank you.
Okay, although he is not here, thank you, Dr. Lam, for your speech. And while the last 2 years have been very difficult and painful, but it has also definitely allowed us to appreciate the people around us and our spaces more as well. So just a quick note that this event is also streamed onto our website, nusmarchgradshow.com. So for those who are unable to join in the Zoom room, you can also watch from there. Okay, so now I would like to introduce our Head of Department of Architecture and one of our thesis professors, Dr. Peng. Dr. Ho, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Emma. This is really a wonderful time. Can I see all the faces? I think right now I only see like 15 faces. Really like to see all of you because I think it's the faces, it's you that really contributed to this journey that we have taken or you have taken in the last 4 or 5 years. I started my position here at NUS in 2017, January. And I think that was when you, this particular cohort had just entered into second year. And in this last 4.5 years, I have seen many people, I have worked with many people within your cohort, and I really truly appreciate working with you and seeing you grow in this in your program. And really congratulate you, as Kipo just said. It's really a tough time over the last 3 years with the decanting, with the changes in curriculum, with the pandemic situation of the last 2 years. Everybody had gone through really very uncertain times. And I think uncertainty will be our new normal. And with this uncertainty, how we navigate life, how we navigate our profession, and how we really come out resilient and be able to cope with all the stresses that come with these uncertainties. I think this is something that you should have learned, and you probably have learned, and you will go on to be learning and to be able to express yourself and be able to, sorry, my phone just rang. You'll be able to come out victorious. And I think in a way, what the school has given all of us is a sense of mission, a mission to really strive for the betterment of our human society, for the betterment of our world. Whatever means you use, whatever ways you express that, whether in the future you'll be an architect, whether you'll be an urban designer, whether you will be someone who really contributes in a bigger world, in a bigger way, all those are very important to contribute to a better world. And I believe that your training and your 5 years or even 2 years with NUS had given you that capacity, the capacity for creative learning, for creative designing, your capacity for mental preparedness, as well as the capacity of organization, the capacity of interdisciplinary collaboration. I hope those are something that you can take with you, together with the value of NUS architecture, to a better, a well green and a situation, a built environment that will express our sense of space, sense of beauty, and those all that will be something that you will take all along with you. So congratulations again. I'd really like to see all the faces. Yes, and I'm seeing a lot of faces now. Really, it should be happy. So sorry that we could not have a physical celebration together, but I hope you guys are all celebrating, whether in twos or in the larger group. Watch out for the safe distancing and all that. But you'll be celebrating this achievement of 5 years, and looking forward, you will achieve much more. Thank you so much, and congratulations again.
So thank you, Prof. Ho, and thank you for all that you've done for us, both teaching and administratively for the past 4 years. So last of our speakers is our Vice Dean, Masters of Architecture Program Director, and another of our thesis professors, Prof. Erik Leroux. Prof. Leroux, please.
Thanks, Emma. I'm delighted to be with you all this afternoon. The NUS Master of Architecture show is all about thesis. Thesis is a contentious and constantly debated subject in numerous architecture programs across the world. Final degree projects, a single super studio, option studios, or an optional thesis often conclude a student's architectural education. Yet here at the Department of Architecture, for all the promise, anxiety, and challenges of the design thesis, we are firmly committed to the thesis for all of our students as a critical milestone to secure a Master's of Architecture degree. With over 130 students going through the experience of thesis, we pride ourselves on this strength in numbers, creating a diversity of voices that emerge from this large student body. A thesis is about design leadership, claiming intellectual and cultural ground to mark a territory of expertise through creative practice. The practice of creative practice refers to repeating, reflecting, and improving the design research as a musician might, leveraging knowledge, skill, and intuition simultaneously. The student's ability to practice creatively is a tricky feat, requiring design dexterity, intellectual determination, creative intuition, representational skill, and verbal articulation all at the same time. And at the Department of Architecture, we believe that this holistic experience is fundamental for the next generation of architects to be sensitive and committed to improving the world that envelops us and the planet that we inhabit. Ideas that are present in the show float across projects, and when viewed as a collective pursuit, we might imagine a collection of low-flying clouds, inscribing blurry and hazy zones of intellectual thought and creative ambition. The 2021 show is a curatorial act reflecting, mirroring, and teasing out the threads this year to find and to define these vague and cloudy edges. The students have championed their own curation, using drawings, images, and words to frame their contribution to the future of the discipline, identifying 5 clusters of thought: critical architecture, history and heritage, sociopolitics and geopolitics, technologies, and finally, urbanism and environments. The critical and reflective review of architecture has traditionally belonged to the voice of the independent curator, historian, or the critic, to make sense of design positioned in culture. However, at the Department of Architecture, we expect all of you, as our design students, to be articulate, be aware, and to be capable of discursively positioning your projects in the larger field of architectural conversations today, while imagining conversations for the near future. The show, launched this afternoon, is one more facet of this multivalent expertise of you, our student body, and a public extension of your own creative practice, spinning your work into the public long after Thesis is done. Though we might imagine Thesis to end at the final review, as this show confidently presents, Thesis is sticky and stays with you, now performed as a collective curatorial show. And if my own experience is right, the Thesis will cling with all of you for years ahead. Personally, I'm still reworking my thesis done 21 years ago in every project that I do to this day. I've been challenged and confronted with counter ideas and placed onto shaky intellectual and design ground after reviewing the students' collective work this year. But this is the role of Thesis, to provoke and to challenge the shifting and blurry edges of architecture. The Thesis works as a mirror to the discipline, as the discipline anxiously shifts and expands, driving all of you as students, academics, and practitioners to define what architecture is for today and for tomorrow. Therefore, the more Thesis shapes our clouds, the more faith I have that you, as this new generation, will move architectural thought confidently and boldly into the future, affecting positive change within the material landscapes in Singapore, in the region, and across the globe. The design thesis experience also represents the resilience and determination of all of you as our students and all of our faculty. This pandemic-plagued year, as mentioned, and coupled with the massive renovation of the program's home at SD1 and SD3, required expert navigation of changing and challenging regulations on campus, in the community, and in your own homes. All of you have completed the year with grace and impressive determination. So let me extend my congratulations to the graduating Master of Architecture class and all of the thesis advisors who helped mentor you along the way. You have presented an amazing and thought-provoking body of work produced during a challenging year, and all of you have made visible the tremendous dedication and strength, personally and collectively, qualities that will serve all of you well in your futures. I wish the show great success, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. LaRue, not just for presenting the pedagogy of DOA's Master of Architecture course, but also the direction of our exhibition. So all these topics, such as definitions, boundaries, and these creative practices, will be discussed in all of our events. So I really hope that those that are interested could join us. And also, thank you. Congrats on your first year as our program director, Prof. LaRue. Okay, so once again, a round of applause for our 3 teaching professors and administrators who have done so much for the program and us as students. Yay! So it is now time for the launch of our M.Arch Show 2021 exhibition website. Please sit back and let the exhibition unfold. So now everyone, the website has launched. Please visit the website at nusmargradshow.com/2021. Yep, so the URL, can we flash the URL first, the one before this? Just so everyone can catch it. Yeah, so the URL is on the link now. You can come and visit, but also don't go anywhere yet because we would like to invite our one of our exhibition directors, Yong Chen, to introduce us to the curation behind our exhibition. Yong Chen, please.
Thanks, Emma, for the introduction. And thank you, Dr. Lam, Dr. Ho, and Prof. Erik for your speeches. And Matt, of course, for the amazing video. Firstly, congrats all of us in the graduating class of 2021. So this show is a celebration of all your hard work over the past year. We have each produced a thesis of our own, the culmination of our architectural education thus far. And our show seeks, first and foremost, to platform this individual effort of all of you. This year, however, as a batch, we would like to go a little bit further. Our 2021 grad show is organized to frame our projects alongside and against each other. With the help of our whole cohort, we have placed our works in 5 clusters. These are broad groupings of our interests and agendas, each aligned with different discourses within the discipline itself. And we hope that by exploring the contrasts and similarities in the way we tackle these questions, every project may be seen in relation to the next. Through this, we aim to contribute to these discourses as collective bodies of overlapping work, and at the same time, perhaps reveal new ways of reading these individual theses as well. So to further pursue the intersections between our works, our theme, our classes have organized a series of online dialogues and forums over the next 4 weeks. Our graduating students will share their work alongside panels of invited guests, both local and international, to engage in topics of interest. We hope that you will join us for what we are sure will be a very stimulating set of conversations and presentations. So we must express our appreciation for the incredible effort put in by our team to make this show possible. As our head and program director have already made clear, the last 1 year, 2 years have not been easy. It's only thanks to the very hard work and unflagging determination of the whole team that this show has successfully taken this new online form. So we are very proud of what they have accomplished. We also owe our thanks to the school and to the teaching faculty and to the administrative team at DOA, without whom our learning and this show could not have happened. And finally, we thank everyone here today for your support, and we hope you all enjoy the exhibition and events of the NUS M.Arch Show 2021.
So thank you for your attention so far, everyone. We will now be screening a curatorial tour video that browses the themes and topics within each cluster. Please feel free to peruse the site as the video plays, or you may choose to watch the video solely.
The batch of 2021 from the National University of Singapore Masters of Architecture program is proud to present our thesis work from the past year. Let's look through the virtual exhibition and our 5 clusters.
The Technologies cluster posits that architecture cannot be divorced from the techniques which inform it. From orthographic drawing to computer-aided design tools to computational design methods and VR worlds, the methods of making architecture have constantly evolved, and the worlds that architects design also include the virtual realms that an increasing number of digital natives are beginning to inhabit. Projects by April and Weijie respond to new technologies such as artificial intelligence or digital footprints. April's project studies the impact of artificial intelligence in the urban and economic fabric of Shenzhen, while Weijie traces and augments the intimate spatial procession of a crematorium with the data footprints left behind in a person's life. Virtual reality and augmented reality are also explored by Matthew, Thomas, and Ziwei, who translate spatial and architectural ideas for the new media in the design of a message board, a dementia treatment process, and to study the amalgamation of physical and digital spaces, therefore applying architectural ideas to virtual experiences. Finally, web-based tools by Anna and Derek also utilize web-based platforms to generate new tools that reach masses of people, to study perceptions of Singaporeans not in my backyard mentalities, or to smoothen the participatory design process. The thesis of this cluster attempt to reimagine the architect in this data-driven world. While technology's evolution may occur at an ever-accelerating pace, the works respond to the zeitgeist of the 21st century and the increasing blend between the digital, the material, and the architectural.
Now, let's move on to our largest cluster, urbanism and environments. We take on the position that architecture is ecological. It mediates the relationship between human and environment by engaging it with vast networks of stakeholders, processes, and relationships beyond our immediate and perceptible senses. Our projects are split into 3 subclusters, according to explored themes and concerns. The Reimagining subcluster designs for unprecedented events, projecting futures in which their architectures lie, so as to critically examine the present. The Filter City Master Plan is a combined studio effort to propose new typologies, economic systems, and public spaces that have become insufficient due to the pandemic's need for containment and recovery. Sherry's Residences scheme absorbs urban public space and its vibrancy into the domestic sphere, while Bernie's retail and manufacturing arm proposes a granularized layered typology that overhauls the previously linear and isolated manufacturer-to-consumer line. The Reconciling subcluster seeks new synergies between man and environments, redefining the boundaries between the natural and the artificial. Joanne does this in her thesis Designing Consequence, where she relinquishes control to natural cycles and growths, allowing our typically manicured forms of nature to consume our built environment. Architecture is found in studies of botany, material textility, and hydrologic landscapes. The Resourcing cluster assesses our resources through new ways of consumption and production. In Keith's Feed Forward, architecture becomes a vehicle for food and produce management, but also a means to dissect and mold community values, culture, and consumer mindsets. In the material field, Valerie centers investigations around the found recyclable object and its intimate interactions with each other and the body. She blurs the boundaries and inverses hierarchies between object, architecture, and body. In the face of increasing urbanization, climate change, and global crisis, such as the ongoing pandemic, architecture must seek new ways of mediating between inhabitants and their environments. No longer must we refer to insular standards of measure or methods within the discipline, but instead take root across multiple bodies of knowledge that expand the scope of architecture and foreground the collaborative role of the architects.
Works within the sociopolitics and geopolitics cluster interrogate architecture's capacity to contribute to the public good. Architecture may be tied to established norms of economy, society, politics, and the built environment, both the product and cause of the status quo. The thesis proposed, however, that architectural thinking and intervention can equally upset perceived spatial injustices for the better. They are divided in our exhibition into ministries, each one focused on a type of provocation. Ita's Sin Paradise Town imagines an independent town within Singapore, a free space within a restrictive society. It is deliberately speculative and imaginative, but then, by situating it against the NBS, itself a free zone for vice, it serves as a critique masked as a proposal. Xiao Wei's thesis, Chinatown, a green light district, comes from a similar angle, looking at spaces of free speech. But instead of the singular satirical beacon, it attempts to realize it by coexisting with socio-spatial tension, occupying unlikely corners of the urban streetscape behind back alleys and disappearing into food courts. Other projects move along similar lines of inquiry, moving across the boundaries of architecture to raise and tackle various chosen issues. Ahmad Nazaruddin's Pleasure Fields imagines a park for cruising, part architecture, part clothing. Rachel Sim, attempting to redress electoral imbalance, designs everyday objects which serve hidden functions in political walkabouts. These theses are fundamentally optimistic, at a time when architecture in practice seems all the more constrained by structures of capital and power. These explorations strive to reassert the power of design, attempting to make a difference in the world.
Our History and Heritage cluster is formed by a relatively small group of students. While the name of the cluster immediately brings to mind conservation, the works of this cluster vary greatly. The students have concerned themselves with stories, often those not immediately apparent or recognizable, and forgotten sites across many scales. They negotiate the demands of past and present, often at odds in different ways. For example, Dong-Eun's project, dealing with difficult heritage, attempts to find and conserve the very idea of islandness itself on Sorokdo, through 6 relatively small piers distributed around the perimeter of the island. On the other hand, Huiling, in a case for the Kampong spirit, acknowledges the weakness of architecture from the outset. She asks how architecture and the notion of preserving a certain spirit of place can make do in a pragmatic country, which she answers by embedding artifacts from the past within the new. The themes of this cluster are particularly pertinent given the growing interest in conservation in Singapore today. Just last year, for example, Golden Mile Complex was proposed for conservation, a milestone for modern architecture and perhaps indicative of a wider paradigm shift. These thesis-level proposals are thus the tip of an iceberg. We will no doubt see the floodgates open in view of the new architectural conservation masters.
Welcome to our cluster titled Critical Architecture, one of the 5 clusters in the NUS Masters of Architecture Show 2021. Despite our discipline's tendency to put up an impressive facade, our cluster grapples with architecture as a weak discipline, as compared to other disciplines which are more elemental and pure. Yet, it is within this weak discipline that students are able to destabilize conventions, employ different methods of inquiry, and to redefine architecture and expand its boundaries. Some projects question the reliance towards line drawings as a representation of architecture, borrowing and experimenting with novel ways of representation to create new design methodologies. In a discretized mosque, Zulkarnain analyzes spatial representation in film by translating the experience of film into drawing, where architecture is read as a collection of discrete spaces that form a whole, rather than as a whole partitioned into fragments. Zul applies this formal operation in the design of a mosque, displaying the connection between architecture and its methods of representation. The cluster is critical of conventional values in the discipline that run deep. Seriousness, objectivity, and logic have taken precedence, and other values are suppressed or hidden. Amelia's project, Translating the Subconscious, plays with subjectivity and the subconscious as methods of design, values that have always been inherently in architecture but not positioned as protagonists within the discipline. Working through intuition and memory and translating them into hand movements that mold clay, Amelia proposes architecture as an operation that embraces the subjective and subconscious, culminating in fascinating 1:1 scale objects that are also scale models of pavilions. In many ways, the discipline of architecture is defined by a dynamic equilibrium, requiring constant re-evaluation rather than existing as a stable state. We hope that our inquiry in critical architecture never ends, to thrive as conversations, thesis projects, and creative works in the future. Thank you for your support for the M.Arch Show 2021 Intersection series. We hope that you will enjoy our works and join us in our weekly online dialogues. We look forward to celebrating, learning, and sharing new ideas with you all. So thank you everyone for spending your Saturday morning, afternoon or night with us. And we hope that you have each found an idea, a topic, or even just an image that is interesting that can spark your own discussions and ideations. So before we close this event, we would like to give a shout out to one of our helpers, someone that has shown us a lot of support throughout the exhibition, which is PLP Printing. So many of us know them as the printers that help us print our boards in undergrad and graduate years, but now they also offer BRIM training and digitalization services for firm built industry. When this exhibition was still a physical one, they were really kind to support us. So even though it is no longer physical, we would like to give a shout out of gratitude to them. You can find more information in the link in the chat boxes. So if you'd like to have a hard copy archive of these wonderful projects, please consider buying our book. It is very comprehensive at 565 pages long for $55. The profits made through our book sales will be contributed to our student funds in the Department of Architecture NUS, used to financially assist underprivileged students with the goal of making architectural education more equitable. Currently, the book is only available for order in Singapore, but if you wish to preview and order the book, you can head to the order form that we have placed in the Zoom and YouTube comment boxes, and that is also currently on the screen. For Thesis, teaching faculty, and our peers who are exhibiting in the show, do note that this book is free. However, please still place your orders through the form so that we have a way to contact you. Get it while stocks last, because it is limited stock. So if during the ceremony you found a topic or theme intriguing, please consider attending our topical events. It is a month-long symposium over the month of July, and we've invited many speakers who have their own expertise and experience in different topics, research, and practices. Each cluster conversations dives into a particular interest or thread within architectural discourse. So for example, in the Socio and Geopolitics cluster called Out and About, our thesis students will be sharing stories of their research process, the on-the-ground walkabouts, and the significance of this close contact in their work. They will be joined by our own professor, Dr. Lillian Khee, who is the co-leader of the Research and Design cluster in NUS, and invited guest Marianne Janowitz from London-based Edit Collective. So for my own cluster, I'm from Urbanism and Environments. We'll be discussing the many ways that architecture mediates man and environment, and how it requires us to tap into new bodies of knowledge and expand what architecture can be in form, function, and effect. So we have invited two guest speakers from somewhat outside the discipline. One of them is Mr. Leonard Ng, who is the country director of Rambo Singapore Dreisettle, and Dr. Siram, who is the Circular Task Force leader. So on screen, we have the dates for each cluster event and the topics that they'll be exploring, with a link for more information as well. So if you're interested, how you attend the show is that you just open the M.Arch Grad Show website at the time shown, and the event will be streamed live right to the landing page. Okay, so before we end this event, can I request that all of our batchmates of NUS Master of Architecture turn on your cameras so that we can celebrate and congratulate you all. So maybe we can go into gallery view. Oh yeah, and also this is being streamed live to YouTube. So shout out to all those who are watching on YouTube. We hope that we have not forgotten you, and we hope that you'll join us as well. Okay, so if you notice, many of us have different colored backgrounds that correspond with our clusters, so you can see how colorful our batch is. So hi everyone, and congratulations on finishing this year. Yay! Okay, so we hope that you have a great month of July with us. And for any questions, just find us on Instagram or email us at the address that was shown on the screen. So Yeah, for all our batchmates, congratulations. Thank you for the past 5 years, all our big and small interactions we've had together. And of course, thank you to our teaching staff, our thesis professors and administrators who have done so much for us, especially in the past 2 years. And all the best to the department, even as whatever structural changes that will occur in the future. Yeah, so I think that is the end of our event. Thank you so much, everyone. And yeah, and we hope that we'll be able to see you again soon.
So everyone's unmuted now, right?
Yes, I'm muted.
All right, everyone's free to unmute and talk now. Woo!